Okay, so this is 13.4 part 2, and so we are ready to move on to another one. So let's start by drawing out angle X as 28 degrees. That's acute, so it's just like the last problem that we were doing. And side X over here is going to be 9, side Z is 15. So again, we need to compare it to the height. Height is right here. So we take 15 times the sine of 28 to figure out what our height is. And that is 7.04. All right, well 9 is longer than it. So this is the case where 9 can swing out and touch out here, or it could swing inside because it is less than 15. So it could either be out here, or it could be in there. We have two different triangles. So let's draw it first with it swung out. So sketch this one on your paper. We're going to solve this triangle now. Okay, we have two sides that are related to each other, the 28 and the 9. So we'd set up sine of 28 over 9 equals, well, I've got this side, and it's related to that angle, so I would say sine of 15 over, I'm sorry, I said that wrong, sine of z, we don't know what that angle is, over 15. All right, cross multiply and divide here. Now remember, we're looking for the angle, so we're going to have to do the inverse. So we would say sine of 28 times 15 divided by 9. And we get that answer. So again, what we have to do is we have to do second sine, second answer. And so angle Z is 51.5. I'll label it up here. Well, now that we know that, we can figure out what y is. 28 and 51.5, and then we subtract that from 100. I'm sorry, 180. And that comes out to 100.5. So we can now say that y is 100.5 degrees. Now we just have to find this last side, which we could label lowercase y. Again, we go back to the one that was given from the beginning. Sine of 28 over 9 equals, these two are related to each other, so sine of 100.5 over y. Cross multiply and divide. This one we are not looking for the angle, so we don't have to do that second step of second sine, second answer. We just take 9 times the sine of 100.5 and then divide it by the sine of 28. So 18.8 is our answer there. All right, now remember, that is just one solution. We now have to think about it, what if it went inside? So copy down this triangle. Now we have to find this one. Okay, so now how are we going to do this? If we start setting this up, I'm going to just slide this over here so I have more room to work with it. If we start setting this up and we set up our law of sines and everything, we're going to find z to be the same answer as up here because you're going to set up the same proportion and you're going to end up getting 51.5. Well, obviously in this case, z is not 51.5. It's over 90 degrees. So how do we do this then? Okay, well let's relate it back to that last problem. On the last problem, that was swung out here. Let's just extend this line off. And remember, if this is 9, it's also 9 over here, meaning we have an isosceles triangle. And so we found over here that this is 51.5, which means in an isosceles triangle, this also has to be 51.5. So we actually do not need to set up a law of sines ratio for this one because all we do is we take 180 minus 51.5 because those two angles are supplementary. this one right here plus this one right here makes a straight line 180 degrees. So angle Z is actually easier to find now. You just take 180 minus 51.5, and angle Z is 128.5 degrees. Well, Y is pretty easy to find then also. 128.5 plus 28, and subtract that from 180. And so you get 23.5 degrees. And then the last thing to find is lowercase y. So we can set this up. Sine of 28 over 9, because that one is related to that one. That's related in the same way that sine of angle y, 23.5, is related to side y. All right, cross multiply and divide, and we don't need to do the inverse because we're not looking for the angle. Inverse finds the angle. So we'll multiply these two together. I'm not going to bring up the calculator, I'm just going to do it on my handheld calculator, so you should be doing the same. Multiply those two, divide by sine of 28, and you end up lowercase y equals 7.664, and it just stays as 6. So once you actually find the bigger triangle, the acute triangle, like that one, the obtuse angle one is pretty easy. All right, one last problem to go through then. How about this one? So we've got a baseball between second and third base, caught at point B. How far away from second base was the ball caught? So we're looking for this angle right there. All right, let's set up our ratios. Well, what do we know? Well, I know this side. Guess I'm going to have to know that angle, though, to relate it, though. So we can figure that out. 58 plus 41 is 99 degrees. So if you do 180 minus 99, then you get 81. So that's 81 degrees. So we would say sine of 81 over 90 equals, trying to find x. So let's relate, let me find a color here. 41 is related to x. So sine of 41 over x. Cross multiply and divide. So type in 90 times the sine of 41 and divide that by the sine of 81. And we find our total for x to be 59.7. So let's round it up, 60 feet away. All right, that is the end of the lesson. So you can go ahead and write your questions and your summaries.